In the tale of Pinocchio, a small puppet's desire is granted. He liberates himself from the controlling strings and embarks on the path to becoming a real, independent boy. However, Pinocchio remains unaware of the challenges and perils that accompany genuine existence, as well as the painful lessons to be gleaned from honesty, friendship, and family. Enduring narratives like Pinocchio, along with a myriad of beloved myths, fairy tales, and religious parables, all depict the quest for life's meaning as a delicate dance between order and chaos, the familiar and the exotic, or security and adventure. People persist in revisiting historical texts and immersing themselves in the wisdom of philosophers such as Socrates and Aristotle, because there exists within us an innate yearning for universal values and rules that can bring meaning to our lives. One such rule is that hierarchies are a common facet of life in societies around the world. So give yourself an advantage with good posture. Hold your head high and stand up straight and tall. You've likely encountered the phrase the pecking order, but do you know its origin? It can be traced back to a Norwegian zoologist who, during the 1920s, conducted research on barnyard chickens and astutely observed the existence of a distinct hierarchy among them. At the top resided the healthiest and strongest individuals, consistently given the privilege of pecking first when nourishment arrived. At the bottom dwelled the weakest chickens, their feathers in disarray, relegated to pecking at meager crumbs. Pecking orders of this nature extend beyond the realm of chickens. They manifest naturally throughout the animal kingdom. Consider, for instance, lobsters, whether inhabiting the vast expanse of the ocean or raised in captivity. Lobsters, driven by their innate instincts, fiercely vie for the most desirable and secure shelters, engaging in aggressive battles. Scientists have discovered that these competitive conflicts result in winners and losers possessing distinct neurochemical balances in their brains. Winners exhibit a higher ratio of serotonin to octopamine, while the opposite holds true for the losers. Remarkably, these chemical levels even influence the physical posture of lobsters. Elevated serotonin levels contribute to winners being more agile and upright, whereas increased octopamine levels cause losers to adopt a tense and curled up stance. This divergence in bodily comportment significantly impacts subsequent confrontations, as upright lobsters appear larger and more intimidating, thereby inducing submission in the tense ones. As one might surmise, similar hierarchies and cycles of victory and defeat unfold among humans. Studies have demonstrated that individuals grappling with alcoholism or depression display reduced inclination to engage in competitive situations, inadvertently reinforcing inactivity and perpetuating feelings of low self-esteem and depression. Conversely, those who are successful often project a confident and assertive body language, thereby bolstering their momentum. Just like lobsters, humans are constantly engaged in comparative evaluations, frequently associating an individual's intellectual prowess with their physical demeanor. Consequently, if you want to succeed in life, adhere to rule number 1. Hold your head high and stand up straight with your shoulders back. Adopt the posture of a winner. By standing up straight, we signal our readiness to face the challenges that life throws our way. Rule number 2 is that you should treat yourself like someone you are responsible for helping. If your dog fell ill and the veterinarian prescribed medication, you wouldn't hesitate to fulfill the prescription, would you? And yet, astonishingly, 1 out of every 3 individuals neglects to follow the medical advice provided by their physicians. This begs the question, why do we exhibit greater care for our pets than we do for ourselves? Part of the explanation lies in the fact that we are acutely aware of our own imperfections, which engenders self-loathing. This self-loathing, in turn, can lead to unwarranted self-punishment and a sense of unworthiness when it comes to experiencing well-being. Consequently, we extend better care to others than we do to ourselves. This belief in our inherent unworthiness traces back to the ancient tale of Adam and Eve's expulsion from the Garden of Eden. In this metaphorical narrative, Adam and Eve symbolize all of humanity, who were deceived by a malevolent serpent into consuming the forbidden apple of knowledge. By heeding the serpent's counsel, humans are forever tainted with malevolence. While The story of the Garden of Eden brings our darker nature into sharp focus and reinforces the notion that we are undeserving of good things. It can also be interpreted differently. It isn't solely our own selves that are corrupted, but rather the entire world. The humans and the serpent in the garden can be viewed as representative of the natural interplay between order and chaos in the world. This dualistic nature is also evident in Eastern philosophy and symbolized by the yin-yang emblem. Light and darkness coexist, each containing a fraction of the other within itself, and neither can exist without the other. Harmony is achieved by striking a healthy balance between light and dark, avoiding an excessive tilt in either direction. For instance, if parents were to shield their children from anything deemed bad, they would only be replacing chaos with the tyranny of excessive order. In other words, the pursuit of perfect goodness is a futile endeavor. Therefore, care for yourself as you would care for a cherished companion. Attend to your own well-being, but do not wage an unwinnable battle against chaos. Instead of solely pursuing what brings you happiness, strive to engage in actions that are genuinely beneficial for you. As a child, you may have resisted brushing your teeth or wearing mittens, but these were necessary tasks. As an adult, you are responsible to establish goals that define your identity and the direction you wish to take in life. So, assume accountability of yourself and take care of yourself just as you would take care of a loved one. Rule number 3 is to make friends with people who want the best for you. One of my childhood friends never ventured far from his hometown. Instead, he chose to remain there, falling in line with the town's other underachievers. Whenever I returned home and caught up with him, I witnessed an increasingly noticeable decline in his once promising potential. What was once youthful promise had transformed into embittered resentment. His deadbeat friends had become a detriment, hindering his progress in life. This unfortunate scenario can befall anyone, regardless of their location. In a workplace setting, a similar dynamic can unfold when an underperforming individual is integrated into a team of high achievers. Managers may believe that the presence of exemplary colleagues will inspire the unproductive employee to adopt better habits. However, studies have revealed that the opposite is more probable, with negative behaviors spreading and undermining the overall performance of the team. Hence, the third rule emphasizes the importance of surrounding oneself with supportive friends, as these relationships have the potential to foster positive transformations. Exercising discernment in selecting companions is a wise decision that should not be mistaken for selfishness or snobbery. Supportive and encouraging friendships operate as a reciprocal arrangement. When you require uplifting, they will be there for you. And when your friend needs assistance in overcoming setbacks or pursuing self-improvement, you will be there for them. This mutual dynamic fosters individual success, and when part of a team, can lead to remarkable collective achievements. When studying at university, I joined a group of like-minded individuals who supported one another in our studies and various endeavors, such as establishing a newspaper and effectively managing a student union. You will recognize genuine friends by their refusal to tolerate your wallowing in negativity. They desire what is truly best for you and will encourage you to break free from such patterns and regain your footing so that you can become a better you. Rule number 4 is to compare yourself to who you were yesterday rather than comparing yourself to others. In an era when even the notion of small communities has faded into obscurity due to the ubiquity of the internet, the concept of a big fish in a small pond has likewise lost its relevance. Today, we are all interconnected in a global community, and no matter where we find ourselves, there will always be individuals who surpass us in various domains. This brings us to the matter of self-criticism. It is crucial to engage in self-evaluation, for without it we would lack the impetus to strive for improvement, and our lives would quickly lose meaning. Fortunately, it is inherent to human nature to perceive the present as lacking while envisioning a future that holds greater promise. This tendency serves a purpose as it fuels our motivation to progress and take action. However, self-criticism can turn toxic when it becomes solely centered on comparisons with others, causing us to lose sight of our own progress. Firstly, This inclination leads to thinking in black and white terms, wherein we either deem ourselves as successes or failures. This narrow view prevents us from acknowledging the incremental advancements, however modest they may be, that are essential to personal growth. Furthermore, comparisons often result in a myopic focus on a single aspect of our lives, magnifying it disproportionately. For instance, suppose we assess the past year and realize we were not as productive at work as some of our colleagues. Instantly, we may feel like abject failures. Yet, if we were to zoom out and consider the broader spectrum of our lives, we might recognize significant improvements in our family relationships, for example. So, instead of comparing yourself with others, progress is best achieved by comparing yourself with who you were in the past. By comparing our current results with our past ones, we maintain a forward trajectory. If we constantly perceive ourselves as perpetually victorious, it serves as a warning sign that we need to take greater risks and establish more challenging goals. When evaluating our progress, we should adopt the mindset of a meticulous home inspector, scrutinizing every aspect and categorizing each issue. Is it a superficial flaw or a structural problem? Before granting our approval, we must compile a list of areas that require improvement. This thorough approach will keep us occupied with self-reflection, leaving little concern for how we measure up against others. Rule number 5 is that you should not let your children do anything that makes you dislike them. If you've ever seen parents ignoring a child who is misbehaving and causing a scene, you may have wondered, are they just bad parents, or are they being clever by allowing their child to tire himself out? Over time, approaches to child rearing have evolved, influenced by the age-old debate regarding nature versus nurture and varying perspectives on innate human instincts. In the 18th century, philosopher Jean-Jacques Rousseau propagated the popular notion that our prehistoric ancestors possessed innate goodness, gentleness, and childlike qualities. He attributed our history of warfare and violence to the corrupting influence of civilization. However, modern research has shed light on the fact that individuals are born with innate aggressive instincts and must learn to cultivate kindness, gentleness, and civilized behavior. Indeed, we are all familiar with the fierce competitiveness that can arise among children on a playground, making most workplaces appear relatively tranquil in comparison. It is really up to parents to guide their naturally aggressive children toward becoming kind, well-adjusted, responsible adults. Parents must assume a role beyond that of a mere friend and undertake the responsibility of nurturing responsible and likable individuals. This task presents challenges, as no one relishes assuming the role of the bad guy. Yet, children exhibit aggression as a natural instinct to test societal boundaries and discover where the limits lie. Therefore, parents must adopt a firm and resolute stance in delineating those boundaries. Although this may not initially appear enjoyable, it is crucial to recognize that if children do not learn these lessons from loving and understanding parents, they will inevitably encounter them later in a manner that lacks the same level of love and understanding. Now, let us examine 3 key principles of effective parenting. First of all, establish a limited number of rules. Too many rules can frustrate children as they are perpetually confronted with barriers. Instead, it is preferable to establish a few fundamental principles that are easy to comprehend, such as refraining from biting, kicking, or hitting others unless in self-defense. Secondly, employ the minimum necessary disciplinary measures. Effective and fair discipline requires clear consequences. Punishments should correspond appropriately to the offense, imparting a lesson that discourages future rule violations. Sometimes, a disappointed expression is all that is required, while other situations may warrant depriving the child of video games for a week. Thirdly, be united with your partner. Children possess cunning and may attempt to manipulate one parent against the other. So, parents should strive to be in agreement and support each other. Additionally, every parent is prone to making mistakes, but with the support of a cooperative partner, you will be more likely to identify and rectify those errors. Rule number 6 is to set your house in perfect order before you criticize the world. Let's not beat around the bush. The world is teeming with trials and tribulations. However, this should not lead us into the depths of despair. Throughout history, many individuals have perceived existence as so merciless and inequitable that they deemed extreme reactions as justifiable. The Russian author Leo Tolstoy, for instance, regarded life as absurdly unjust, positing only 4 valid responses: childlike ignorance, hedonistic pleasure, suicide, or persevering, despite it all. Tolstoy analyzed these positions in his essay, A Confession, and concluded that suicide was the most honest response, while continuing to struggle was indicative of his feeble inability to take appropriate action. Regardless of Tolstoy's bleak worldview, and regardless of the magnitude of your suffering or the perceived cruelty and injustices of life, it is unwise to cast blame upon the world. Another Russian writer, Alexander Solzhenitsyn, believed in the possibility of rejecting life's cruelty, even when it is cruel to you. Solzhenitsyn fought against the Nazis as a communist during World War II, only to be unjustly imprisoned by his own state following the war. As if life in a Russian gulag were not arduous enough, he also discovered he had cancer while serving his sentence. During his time in the labor camps, Solzhenitsyn witnessed the immense suffering and human rights abuses inflicted by the Soviet regime. However, instead of immediately seeking to criticize or change the world, Solzhenitsyn focused on his own transformation and setting his house in order. While in the labor camps, Solzhenitsyn secretly wrote and documented the atrocities he witnessed, risking severe punishment or even death. His writings, which include the Gulag Archipelago and One Day in the Life of Ivan Denisovich, exposed the brutal realities of the Soviet labor camp system and revealed the truth about the regime's oppression. By choosing to address his own responsibilities, Solzhenitsyn exhibited the importance of personal growth and integrity. He understood that in order to have a lasting impact and effectively criticize the world, he had to embody the values and principles he advocated for. Ultimately, his books played a significant role in eradicating any remaining support for Stalin's brand of communism among intellectual circles worldwide. So, first, try to improve yourself and address your own personal flaws. Clean your room. Literally, by organizing and tidying your immediate surroundings, you can cultivate discipline, create a sense of order, and develop the necessary habits to tackle larger challenges. Then, start with small, manageable changes within your immediate sphere of influence. By focusing on making your immediate environment better, you can create a ripple effect that extends beyond your personal life. Work to establish healthy relationships and resolve conflicts within your family. By addressing and improving familial relationships, you can positively influence your immediate social environment and lay the foundation for broader societal change. Individuals who have their own lives in order are better equipped to influence others positively. By embodying the values and principles you espouse, you can inspire and motivate others through your actions and behavior. This approach is more effective than merely criticizing or attempting to change others without having your own house in order. Have you heard the tale of the monkey ensnared by its own greed? The story goes that there was a cookie nestled inside an open jar, with an opening just wide enough for the monkey's hand to enter, but too narrow for its clenched fist to withdraw the treat. Consequently, if the monkey persisted in clinging to the cookie, it would find itself trapped. The moral here is that greed exacts a cost. The monkey fell into captivity because it refused to relinquish the cookie. How distinct is this from human behavior? Rule number 7 is to pursue what is meaningful rather than what is expedient. Expedient refers to actions or choices driven by immediate desires, convenience, or short-term benefits. How many individuals pursue daily pleasures that are not aligned with their best interests? And how many are unwilling to make sacrifices that would genuinely benefit them? In contrast, meaningful refers to actions that are purposeful, aligned with personal values, and contribute to a sense of fulfillment and purpose in life. Try to adopt a long-term perspective when making decisions and setting goals. Instead of focusing solely on immediate pleasures or easy solutions, Consider the potential long-term consequences and the alignment of actions with your deeper aspirations and values. In 1970, during the Apollo 13 space mission, an oxygen tank on board the spacecraft exploded, causing a critical failure. The astronauts aboard faced a life-threatening situation as their spacecraft lost power and life support systems. They decided to power down non-essential systems to conserve energy and resources. This meant shutting off various instruments and systems, including heating, ventilation, and communication systems. The sacrifice of these expedient elements allowed the limited power supply to be redirected to critical life support systems and enabled the astronauts to survive in the hostile environment of space. Pursuing what is meaningful often requires delayed gratification. It involves sacrificing short-term comfort or immediate desires in favor of long-term goals and personal growth. By willingly enduring short-term discomfort or hardships, you can achieve greater fulfillment and purpose in the long run. The lotus flower is a plant that typically grows in muddy and murky waters. Despite its surroundings, the lotus is known for its exquisite beauty as it emerges from the mud and blooms into a stunning flower. Sacrifice is akin to voluntarily immersing yourself in the difficulties and challenges of life, just as the lotus immerses itself in the muddy waters. Sacrifice involves giving up immediate gratification and enduring temporary discomfort or pain for the sake of long-term growth and improvement. By willingly making sacrifices and confronting the inevitable challenges in life, we can develop resilience, character, and inner strength. The lotus flower serves as a symbol of hope, representing the potential for transformation and beauty that can arise from embracing sacrifice. By embracing sacrifice and willingly shouldering the burdens of life, you can rise above your circumstances and flourish, much like the lotus flower that emerges from the muddy waters. Rule number 8 is to tell the truth, or at least don't lie. The pursuit of truth requires honesty and a rejection of self-deception. Friedrich Nietzsche, the esteemed German philosopher, proposed that the strength of an individual's spirit can be gauged by their capacity to withstand unadulterated truth. While truth is often revered in our culture, we find ourselves entangled in lies on a regular basis. One of the main reasons for lying to ourselves and to others is to get what we think we want. The Austrian psychologist Alfred Adler called these life lies, and they're characterized as the things we'll do and say to turn a poorly thought out goal into a reality. Even seemingly harmless lies can have significant negative ramifications. For example, a person may tell their partner they are fine when they're actually upset or dissatisfied. While this might seem like a harmless lie to avoid conflict or hurt feelings in the short term, it can lead to a breakdown of trust and communication in the long run. By not expressing your true emotions and concerns honestly, you might allow resentment and misunderstandings to build up over time. This can ultimately strain relationships and prevent the resolution of underlying issues. The habit of telling small lies can become a slippery slope, leading to a lack of authenticity and hindering personal growth. It can contribute to self-deception and a disconnection from one's true values, aspirations, and relationships. If you sacrifice your relationship to the truth, you warp your vision, and then you can't see. In contrast, by practicing truthfulness, you can cultivate trust, foster healthier relationships, and create a foundation for genuine connection, personal growth, and integrity. Telling the truth can sometimes be challenging and require courage. It may involve confronting difficult or uncomfortable situations, expressing unpopular opinions, or challenging prevailing narratives. However, the pursuit of truth is essential for personal growth, intellectual honesty, and the betterment of society. But honesty really starts with yourself. Self-deception is a significant obstacle to personal growth and well-being. In order to improve, you need to confront your flaws, weaknesses, and responsibilities. Honestly assess your strengths, weaknesses, and areas for improvement. By acknowledging and accepting the truth about yourself, you can develop self-awareness, take responsibility for your actions, and work towards personal growth. rather than deny or suppress your own negative or undesirable traits, you need to confront and integrate those traits. By confronting and integrating these aspects of yourself, you can achieve greater wholeness and authenticity. Rule number 9 is to assume that the person you are listening to might know something you don't. Conversations are a platform for growth and learning, not a battleground for competition. Even centuries after his passing, the wisdom of the ancient philosopher Socrates endures. One of the reasons for this enduring reputation lies in his recognition that the only certainty he possessed was his own ignorance. This humility fueled his approach to conversations and his receptiveness to learning. Engaging in genuine conversation is akin to engaging in the process of thought itself. Thoughtful introspection involves listening to oneself as one explores different facets of an issue. In essence, it involves creating an internal dialogue that necessitates accurately representing opposing viewpoints while striving for objectivity and reaching conclusions. This is why people engage in dialogue with one another, so that they can more easily present the two sides of an issue and come to a conclusion. Even children engage in this process. If one child suggests the idea of playing on a roof, another child might present the dangers associated with the idea. The ensuing conversation allows the child with the initial idea to consider the new perspective, evaluate the risks, and hopefully make a prudent decision. However, conversations frequently deviate from this ideal. Instead of genuinely listening, individuals may treat dialogue as a competitive arena where victory is contingent upon validating their preconceived notions. Rather than attentively hearing the other person's viewpoint, they focus on formulating their own response or engaging in a contest of outdoing one another. Hence, the 9th rule dictates that one should listen attentively to others, believing that there is something to be learned from them. An effective technique for enhancing conversational skills is to listen and then summarize or restate what the other person has said. This serves multiple purposes. It ensures accurate comprehension, aids in memory retention, and mitigates the tendency to distort or oversimplify details in order to suit your side of the conversation. Admittedly, the truth can be painful, as it may require revising our ideas and preconceptions. Nevertheless, this discomfort is the price we pay for engaging in the beautiful process of learning and personal growth. Rule number 10 is to be precise in your speech. Life is an immense and intricate tapestry, yet we tend to focus only on the isolated parts that directly concern us. Imagine walking along and spotting an apple on the ground. Most likely, you won't contemplate the branch, tree, roots, and soil that were connected before the apple fell. We tend to pay attention only to things that serve our needs or hinder our progress. The apple captures our attention because it represents sustenance and nourishment. However, we neglect the tree and the soil because they don't serve our immediate purposes. Admittedly, we can't constantly hold every detail in mind. The world is far too complex for that, so our minds simplify things to facilitate our daily lives. Yet, occasionally something may happen that shatters our understanding of the world, leaving us feeling overwhelmed by chaos. This is precisely why rule number 10 is of utmost importance. Confront the complexity of life with clear and precise language. Why does this matter? Consider the word car. You know what a car is, right? It's a vehicle that transports you from one point to another. But when your car breaks down halfway through your journey, do you possess a precise understanding of its inner workings? Can you pop open the hood and fix the intricate machinery? If your car malfunctions, you might feel an instinctual urge to curse, and perhaps even kick it in frustration for no longer being a simple object. This is what happens when complexity and chaos arise. To regain order, you must clearly and precisely articulate what went wrong. The same principle applies when your body breaks down and you fall ill. Numerous factors could contribute to your ailment, so it is crucial to communicate precise symptoms to your doctor. Is it a stomach ache? Or do you have a fever? Did the discomfort start after eating something? What exactly was it? by using precise language, you can restore order and take the necessary steps towards recovery. Precise language also enhances the smooth functioning of relationships. Does your partner engage in behaviors that bother you, such as neglecting to clean up after themselves? The sooner you honestly and precisely communicate your concerns to them, the smoother your life will become. Rule number 11 is, do not bother children when they are skateboarding. According to George Orwell's The Road to Wigan Pier, socialism gained supporters in England not primarily due to empathy for the harsh conditions faced by miners, but rather out of animosity towards the wealthy and powerful. Today, we witness similar sentiments towards the male-dominated leadership known as the patriarchy. One influential source of this animosity towards the patriarchy is Max Horkheimer of the Frankfurt School, which is rooted in Marxism and advocates for critical theory. Horkheimer believed that education and intellectualism should focus on social change, aiming not to empower women but to combat and dismantle the powerful oppressors within a culture, namely the ruling males. In contemporary humanities courses worldwide, the recommended political action is often the eradication of our perceived macho culture. While it is true that some men have behaved reprehensibly, men have also harnessed their inherent assertiveness for positive ends, engaging in healthy competition, exploring dangerous frontiers, and driving much needed progress. That reminds me of skateboarders. Outside some of the buildings on the University of Toronto campus, there were amazing skateboarders showing off admirable fearlessness and willingness to embrace danger. But then, city officials decided to prohibit skateboarding on the campus. Why stop the skateboarders? Was it to protect them? A society's tendency to overprotect children can have unintended negative consequences. By excessively shielding children from any form of risk or challenge, they are deprived opportunities to develop resilience, courage, and the ability to navigate the complexities and uncertainties of life. We should not establish rules that run counter to our fundamental human nature. Rules should undoubtedly protect us, but they should not suppress the positive qualities inherent in individuals. We have witnessed the consequences of stripping men of their masculinity in works like Fight Club, where repressed aggression leads to dangerous consequences. In Fight Club, the main character seeks an outlet for his frustrations and a way to reclaim his masculinity in a world that he perceives as sterile and emasculating. Through the underground Fight Club, he finds a space where he can confront his fears and test his physical and mental limits. This desire to engage in risk and confront challenges is a natural part of human development. Children, particularly boys, need opportunities to engage in activities that push their limits, even if those activities involve a certain degree of risk. Activities like skateboarding, for example, provide an avenue for children to develop physical coordination, resilience, and the ability to take calculated risks. It is through these experiences that they can develop important life skills, learn to overcome challenges, and grow into confident and capable individuals who can navigate the complexities of life. It is important to allow individuals, particularly young people, to engage in risky activities and explore their limits. Rule number 12 is to pet a cat when you encounter one on the street. The path of life is riddled with hardships and imbued with sorrow. Thus, it becomes crucial to find solace in the small moments of joy that come our way. Have you ever found yourself in the position of caring for an ailing individual? It is an arduous task, fraught with challenges. My own daughter has been grappling with severe arthritis since the tender age of 6. Her existence has been marred by perpetual pain, necessitating frequent injections and multiple surgeries to replace damaged joints. If you were to witness your own child enduring such tribulations, it would be natural to perceive life as unjust. Nonetheless, it is imperative to discern that the somber shades of suffering and anguish lend significance to the fleeting glimpses of goodness. Consider the superhero known as Superman. When this character was first introduced, he captivated the masses with his extraordinary abilities. However, as time progressed, the writers bestowed upon him increasingly formidable powers, rendering him virtually invincible. Consequently, readers began to find him exceedingly dull. Without the presence of peril, Superman's triumphs became hollow and devoid of substance. Likewise, the moments of delight in our lives would be rendered meaningless if we did not grapple with adversity and anguish in our journey towards attaining them. Hence, rule number 12 beckons us. Seize the opportunity to derive the utmost satisfaction from even the most modest joys that life bestows upon us. By adhering to this guiding principle, you will embrace existence and cultivate an appreciation for every flicker of goodness that crosses your path. Moreover, you will fortify yourself to weather the tempestuous storms that you may endure, for you understand that they too shall pass. After enduring years of torment and discomfort, my daughter eventually encountered a new physiotherapist who aided her in reclaiming a greater degree of mobility, a semblance of normality, and a reduction in her anguish. Undoubtedly, there may be further obstacles lurking in the future, but for now, we revel in the present improvements for as long as they endure. This is the best attitude to have. It's the kind that makes you take your time to stop and pet a cat when you cross one on the sidewalk. Remember, there is no day without the darkness of night, just as there's no order without chaos. There is suffering in life, but it's also what gives meaning to our perseverance and makes the moments of peace so rewarding. Navigating through life is an unrelenting struggle, teeming with trials and tribulations. And if there is one certainty amidst this tumultuous journey, it is that further tribulations await us on the horizon. However, there is also beauty to be found and joy to be experienced, however fleeting these moments may be. All we can do is strive to give our best effort, remain honest and truthful, and avoid selfishness and pride. It is crucial to shoulder the responsibility for our own circumstances, refraining from casting blame upon the world or others for our own shortcomings. In conclusion, only you have the power and responsibility to take charge of your life and make positive changes. Personal responsibility is the foundation upon which you can build a meaningful and purposeful existence. By taking responsibility for your own choices, actions, and the impact they have on others, you can strive for personal growth and contribute to the well-being of your community. Finding meaning in life involves shouldering the weight of responsibility and engaging in activities that align with your values and aspirations. If you want to make a positive difference in the world, true change begins at the individual level, with each person striving to become the best version of themselves. By confronting your own weaknesses, biases, and limitations, you can contribute to a more harmonious and compassionate society. Seek truth and be honest with yourself and others. Confront the complexities of existence. By embracing truth and avoiding self-deception, you will be able to navigate the challenges of life with integrity and authenticity. Become a force for good. Through small acts of kindness, compassion, and the pursuit of truth, you can positively influence your immediate surroundings and contribute to a more harmonious and just society. Lastly, celebrate all of your small successes along the way. Life is hard, but be sure to enjoy all of the good things you experience, no matter how small.